From the Cold Formed Steel Buildings Association, this is Cold Formed Buildings Made Easy with your hosts, John Cosper and Lauren Toole.
Hello and welcome to Cold Formed Buildings Made Easy. My name is John Cosper and I'm here with my co-host Lauren Toole. And today we're joined by a very special guest. We're joined by April Wilkerson. If you're not familiar with April, she is a YouTube star. She is a DIY expert. There's nothing April can't dream up and cannot build. I have personally witnessed this, not only some of her handiworks and stuff and an incredible treehouse deck we were just talking about before we started recording, but also most recently a cold formed steel building, which she's just now started posting videos of on her YouTube channel. So April, we are thrilled to have you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, guys.
How did you get started from the very beginning? Your platform, your YouTube, just how did it all start?
Yeah, I think I have a really common story. My need to get into building was out of necessity. I didn't have any money or not enough to go buy stuff or to fix up my home. I mean, every project's expensive. And so I thought, I wonder if I could build it myself. Really, the thing that kicked it off was I needed a freestanding pantry to store my dry goods. And I thought, it's just a big box. How hard can it be? Turned out to be very hard. And whenever you don't know anything, I didn't know anything about tools. I didn't know how to chuck a drill. I didn't know anything about buying material or the length of screws. But over 2 weeks, I just slowly started figuring it out. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of resources available online. And so mostly did trial and error. Well, then after I completed the project, I thought, well, I guess I could be the person that makes it available online so that the next person that goes looking for at least a shortened learning curve, I can tell them what I did and what worked for me. And so that's what I did. I started a blog back in 2013. And for a year, I did written tutorials on my projects, which was a very long way of explaining what I was doing. And so then I thought maybe I should try videoing it and showing people that way. And so then that's how I got into YouTube. And at the time there was, I think, 3 people building stuff in kind of like the woodworking making niche on YouTube. So it wasn't as popular as it is these days. And definitely people didn't join YouTube in order to make it into a career, and at least not in the building niche yet. So yeah, I started making YouTube videos and I never stopped basically. And then that mentality, after I built my very first pantry, I was like, cool, if I could build what I want, then what else do I want? And I've literally just never stopped making my list, and it's only grown. And instead of just staying in one niche, which is woodworking, I've branched out into anything I want. I try to tackle myself. So if it's welding or construction or backsplash or jacking up my house to replace a rotting post, like I'm just trying to think of all the variety of different things that I've done. It's just, if it needs done, then now I have this very scary momentum and confidence in myself to, even if I don't know anything about it, I can figure it out.
You've got a pretty good crew around you too. So that's the folks that we worked with in the fall and everything. How did you get to know those guys over the years and kind of build that crew out?
Yeah. So I was a one-woman team for 10 years. So I've been doing this now for, I guess this is my year 13. And so for 10 years, I did it by myself. And whenever YouTube became my full-time career, it was still it's more than a full-time job, because it's not just building, it's also doing the content, and so much goes into it. But whenever I wanted to branch out from only that one business, I wanted to start a commercial woodworking shop. I wanted to start an indoor golf shop, like more than just building stuff. I hired people in order to help me not have to be the only person doing everything, of course. So Jacob was the very first person. I call him my left-hand man, but I just put out a notice to my followers and I just said, I'm looking for a jack of all trades that is into building a wide variety of things. And so, yeah, Jacob responded and we hit it off immediately. And we've been working together now this is year 6. So anytime I have a project like the floating deck as an example, or the cold form building, I bring in Jacob. And if I need another carpenter, then he's the one I call.
What's your favorite project so far that you built?
That's difficult. I only build things that I need. I don't build things out of request. I don't build things for other people. So every project for me, down to the smallest thing of the shelves you just saw on my wall before we started recording, to my brand new building, down to my personal shop, the floating deck, like every single one, the kitchen table I'm sitting at, it was from a need. And there were learning curves with everything that I feel incredibly proud of myself for overcoming and getting through. And the fact that almost everything I've ever built on YouTube or made a video of, I still currently use, except for the stuff that I did at my old house and then sold. It's really difficult for me to pick. At the end of the day, I'm not a person that can build the same thing over and over and over again. My motivation for building comes from the want of it, of the end product. But the second thing is I like the figuring it out part. That was the cool thing about this cold form is now I've built 3 buildings and I have the hang of it, but out of wood. And there's something to be said for getting efficient and moving fluidly through something. But it was so fun at every single step to see the similarities of the cold form overlapping the carpentry, but then getting introduced to those new things and then figuring out how are we going to do this in order to make it efficient and get it done, right? So yeah, I guess a very long-winded answer to your question. I don't really have a favorite.
Shortly before we jumped on, she was walking through the house and had the camera on, and you're looking around, and even that deck behind you, I'm like, did you build the deck? Did she build the furniture?
Yeah, I did. I built that. And then the posts were rotting out. So I literally had to jack, because this is on the second story. Mm-hmm. And so I had to figure out a way to jack up my entire house on this side, cut 6 feet of the post off, and then put on new posts. So yeah, pretty much everything around my house I've done myself. It's a really cool feeling. And that was always my goal, is to be able to look around one day and it'd be very difficult to find something I didn't do with my own 2 hands.
So I know you had conversations going way back with Phil Koster from ACT about the cold form building. I think Phil may have reached out to you initially. And certainly, I mean, part of the attraction for the ACT side was that this is somebody who does like to figure things out, likes to try things new. Despite, I mean, there's a lot of contractors out there that, they're very successful with cold form and they're one building up after another, and they've got all the fancy equipment, everything like that. But it is a type of building that it's surprisingly easy for, if somebody really wants to and figure it out, they can DIY. So just curious, what was it about it that attracted you? What was that piqued your interest in doing a cold form building?
Yeah, I mean, truly, it's the fact I would have built it out of wood, but the fact that it's brand new, not brand new technology, but new to me. It was going to be a brand new experience for me. And I love the durability of a metal versus wood. And yeah, so I thought it just sounded like a blast to jump in and try it out, especially with the help from Nathan. He was amazing to work with. Like, now that's become my favorite way of working, is if somebody can shorten my learning curve. I spent 10 years before YouTube really became popular. And there were like, these days you can go to YouTube and find a video for anything. Whenever the first decade I was doing it, it was still very hard. And so I had to figure out so much on my own. So I can do that, but I absolutely love it. If I can just shadow somebody and be like, let me pick your brain and let me shorten my learning curve, but be the one to do it. Oh man, it's so exciting to get to work with the specialist. So, I mean, I like the durability. I love the look of metal buildings too. I was really excited to put it together, and I thought it went really smooth. I was really, really surprised. I mean, I don't know if y'all have already told them a little bit about my building personally, but a 60 by 40 square foot shop in 9.5 days of a crew of 4, and all 4 of us are carpenters. So to go jump into metal and then all of a sudden have your building done in 9.5 days, it was just incredible.
Yeah. And as she started talking, Nathan Margosian, he's the founder of Netmar Construction, but since then he's actually gone to work for Acting Systems. He's actually building, kind of working to build up some content online about erection and training erectors and everything. So definitely expanding on what he did on your site. But again, as you said, 4 people and putting that building together, and that's putting the columns up, building the frame, putting the sheeting on, and then also installing all the doors and windows too. Like, it was completely done in 9.5 days. It's pretty amazing, pretty impressive.
Yeah, screwed off gutters. I mean, it was incredible. And now I feel very confident that now that I've done it, we could even make it more efficient. So 9.5 days for the first time to ever do a cold form. It was pretty cool.
Give us a little bit more detail from start to finish, like any problems that came up or anything at all. Let us know how it went.
It was incredibly smooth, honestly. I've been doing this now for 13 years, and every year I do a massive project. I built my own personal 4,000 square foot wood shop. I've done a giant outdoor kitchen. I've done a giant floating deck 12 feet in the trees. Like, I've done a lot. Like, I have experience with putting together big projects well in advance, and I've never had one as smooth as this. And I was really, of course, nervous of it because it was out of my hands. It was in y'all's hands, but y'all just did an amazing job. So everything showed up. We weren't missing anything from my kit. Every single part that was needed for that finished building. And whenever I first saw the truck, I was like, that's not a lot of material. There's no way that's everything. And sure as shit, it was. So good job. Let's see, problems. I had some problems with the concrete guys, but that wasn't, of course, anything to do with the building itself. But after talking to Nathan and if I were to do this again, I would put caution to anybody talking to their concrete guys in advance. They put in a 10 lug indent around the perimeter, and they did it. Basically, my slab came out 3 inches short. And so we were able to compensate for it, but it was just frustrating, of course, that I don't want to compensate for a brand new build that I'm putting together. And I wish I would have told them, hey, make sure, because this is a part that you could mess up for me down, but I didn't know that. And they didn't ask. So was there anything else? The self-tappers was a learning curve for us carpenters. It was, carpenters typically bitch about sanding. Sitting on this cold form building, we were all complaining about the self-tappers, but I feel like it's just part of the trade.
I remember the issues with the concrete, and to be honest, I've been on 2 projects at the beginning, and concrete was an issue on both of them. So it's always make sure you check those plans, make sure your concrete guy reviews them really well too. So just to make sure that everything is poured and is done the way it's supposed to. So, but that's, there again, you guys had a little bit of experience, not only with Nathan and knowing how to work around that, because he's obviously dealt with that many times. I remember that the question was, what do you do when you get a concrete guy who does it wrong? I was like, I get a different concrete guy. But, Gary out back, and he was getting the concrete, poured that needed to be poured so you guys could get that column in the next day as well.
Oh, for the leave out? Yeah, that was another thing I did, Lauren, was I didn't yet know where I wanted my plumbing. So one concrete guy that I ended up not going with, I wish I would have, he suggested doing something called leave out, where I leave out a space. And I thought it was really clever, but the concrete guys I went with didn't look at my plans. And so they poured it right in an area where a main column needed to go. So that messed up our day one when we were set to pour columns. But like John said, our remedy was to pour our own little footer for it or slab for it. But it's, again, just frustrating whenever I feel like you rely on these specialties to come in and then do a good job, and then they didn't. And truthfully, well, there was no other contractors. We did everything else from the slab up, but the slab provided the 3 problems. It was a little bit too short. The leave out was left in a bad place, and then rebar was just put right into our bolt pattern. And Nathan said, yeah, you could always request that they move it, but they typically don't. So, but at the end of the day, everything was solvable, and it went fine after that. As far as erecting the building, that all went smooth. The plans are clearly labeled. The parts were clearly labeled. It took me a second for Nathan to show me, like, this is how you read the index and go find your parts. But then once you're shown, it's as easy as just that, reading an index. And then as far as putting it together, we had 2 scissor lifts and a SkyTrack on site, and it was all manageable with just those 3 pieces of equipment, or when it wasn't 5 of us manhandling it over.
Yeah, I remember carrying those pieces over. So
Yeah,
I'll tell you, my big freak out moment was, you mentioned everything being on site, everything being complete, and it was. But I went over and I looked at those big long panels that were going on the roof, and they were white. And I remembered from initially the plan was to make it a black roof, which you wisely switched. You're in the Texas Hill Country, you don't want a black roof. You want that white. But I saw that white roof, and I immediately went and found Gary. I was like, Gary, the roof panels are white. It's like, yeah, we changed them. I'm like, oh, good. So, as you said, the quality was there and everything was there in peace. So, which was great.
Even done touch-up paint. I was really surprised.
Yeah. So what work have you done on the building since that initial 9.5 day construction?
Pretty much everything. Ran electric, did spray foam, put in AC and lights. It's now a boxing gym. So that's kind of cool. It's operational. People are in there taking kickboxing classes. So there's bag hangings, but painted the spray foam black, but then left all of the columns and beams and rafters, that silver shining through. It looks slick.
Yeah, I bet that does look good.
Yeah, I built some bathrooms, figured out where I wanted the plumbing, so then built some bathrooms. Next thing I need to do is go and build some stairs off the back. I have 2 man doors. I really wanted to create that cross breeze, so I put 2 man doors in the back and 2 in the front. And if they open them both, then they get a nice cross breeze through the whole building. But I need to build some stairs off the back.
You mentioned the stairs in the back. That was a question that came up on YouTube where somebody had posted a comment. That's a really, really thick slab. It's like, well, it's on a hill. So it's a lot easier to walk in. So you do have to be careful with some of the other one that I was on. There was a lean-to on the outside, and there was like maybe a half-inch difference between that slab and the one on the main. I can't tell you how many times I tripped over just that little half-inch ledge.
Yeah.
While we were working on it. So
they say if something's even a quarter, like a stair tread is a quarter inch off, your feet will find it. Yeah.
I will believe that for sure. So what did the other guys think about the project?
Jacob and Gary are both long-term carpenters. Gary's been a carpenter for, 40, 30 years or something. And I was trying to think, not 40 years. He's not that old. About 30 years. Jacob's been a carpenter for maybe 15 or 16. And yeah, both of them thought it was awesome as far as the fluidity of putting it all together, the lightweightness of it. All of us love the durability of it, but all of us also hate the self-tappers aspect of it. I look forward to the day AI will be able to punch the pre-made holes on every single part. Surely that'll come, right? Is that?
Oh, I'm sure. Sure. Yeah.
Because I wanted an overhang on all 4 sides. And so I see where my choice in that made it outside of the norm to where then the software couldn't, or the systems in place couldn't punch the holes. But I'm like, one of these days, surely the technology is going to catch up to where no matter what changes you make, it'll go through and be like, oh, that means you need a hole here and here. And that's going to be different than the next kit.
So, well, just for future reference, the technology is there now. You can do the wraparound all the way around with the lean-to, like even the corners and everything in the software. So,
but with pre-punched holes without self-tappers.
I got you. Yeah. So possibly that we'll see if that comes. So
yes. Well, technology will always be advancing. So I was like, especially with AI these days. I know in order to take out the self-tappers that we had to do for that overhang, I was like, one of these days the technology will get there. Yeah. But, honestly, it wasn't all that bad. And it's 100% worth it. In order to have a building that I'll never have to touch again is going to be amazing.
True.
What can you tell people that are looking at cold form? Like any advice you can give them?
I think it would be things speak for themselves as far as numbers. Like if you were to compare this building, the same exact building from wood to cold form, I think people would be really surprised that you come out about the same. And then with the cold form, you end up getting the long-term durability of never having to worry about moisture or bugs, right? To me, that's something worth considering. Now, if it's people who are looking to build their own, it's definitely not a beginner project. It's like somebody wanting to look at my floating deck and just get into woodworking and think I'm going to start there. This is definitely not a start there project. But if you're the type of person, which so many of the people that follow my channel are, and that's why they follow me, it's because they are already tooling around everywhere from inside to outside to metal to wood, then this is definitely an achievable project. And if you're the type of person that thinks it's fun to get your hands on and you don't mind figuring out a slightly new trade, it's definitely achievable, as I've shown.
You did an outstanding job too on the videos, which is kind of explaining things, breaking things down, in layman's terms as to how everything goes together and addressing the challenges and stuff like that. I've actually heard from several, dealers and manufacturers out there of cold form who are like, we have this video playing on a loop in our front office when people come walking in. So
I'm dyslexic. So this building stuff doesn't come easy to me. I can't see things in my head. I can't do simple math. I get things backwards. I have zero directional sense. Like with the speed square, as an example, I just have to flip it around until it gets and it's funny because it's like, I get so frustrated because it's the thing that I want to do so badly. I'm so hindered to do, but I'm just highly motivated to work through it. And so I explain things when I finally understand it. I explain things the way that I would want them explained if I were first learning it. And then that's how that's my teaching style, is I'm like, what would have made me get this if somebody would have told me it this way, you know? So I appreciate that, because it doesn't, like, I guess the teaching aspect does come easy to me, but the building aspect doesn't. But I love the storytelling ability, and I love to make people feel like they can do it, because truly, I always tell people there's nothing special about me that makes me more capable of doing it than them. I'm just very motivated to do it. Obstacles don't stop me. Working hard doesn't stop me. It doesn't, those aren't deterrents. So if you're the same way, then, and if you add on top of that, like Jacob and Gary as an example are very like engineered mind. Their brains are wired to be a builder. And so if you have those inclinations on top, then it'll be even easier than the experience I have, right? Does that make sense? For
sure. Yeah. So no, the drive is definitely a big factor of it, and desire to do it, and just the love. I mean, you guys were, it was a lot of fun to be out there. It was a lot of fun to work with you guys.
We try to make it a fun job site. We're friends at the end of the day. We're friends as well as, coworkers.
Yeah. And just a fun place to be. The Hill Country is beautiful. Certainly enjoyed my trip down there. So,
good.
What projects have you got lined up?
Yeah, I'm looking at building a pool, an above ground pool. So I developed an RV park. I don't know if you saw that while you were in town, but a 10-acre RV park. And in the heat of the summer, it's just a pool is almost required. And they make this really cool building style called ICF, and it's made out of a concrete. And now they're taking the building method and applying, like, for homes and applying it to pools. And so I was thinking about trying my hand at building my own above ground pool.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be cool. And a guest at my RV park would be able to benefit from it. But
definitely a big tourist area down there, I noticed. So,
during the summer,
the rafting and everything. Yeah.
We also get a lot of winter Texans. So we kind of have two tourist seasons. But a lot of people come down from the north to enjoy our very mild winter, which is nice. But yeah, I'm not building brand new stuff. 2 years ago, and then before that, I was building anywhere from 50 to 55 projects, and then therefore videos a year. But now I have 6 businesses, and I'm just a little bit stretched thin. So my goal for this year was to back off of building so much, be more of a manager and an owner of my different businesses, and just pick a few random projects. So finishing the build out on the interior of my ACT building was something I just completed. Just got utilities done maybe about 2 months ago now. And then, maybe that pool or so. But other than that, it'll probably just be piddly stuff here or there that I build this year. I just need a break, honestly.
Yeah. The itch will be there at some point, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing is that I'm always thinking, I have a big running list of things that I want to make, but it's the content. I'm no longer bringing a camera along on everything I build.
April, we were thrilled to have you on today. We appreciate your time. We certainly appreciate the eyeballs that you're bringing to cold form steel buildings. Again, a lot of great compliments on your videos. We're looking forward to more of those, and certainly appreciate you and your crew and the hard work you guys put in on that building, and the great work you guys have put in on some content out there for us.
Y'all couldn't have been better to work with. Y'all and Quicken just made it so awesome. So I appreciate both of you.
Awesome. I'm glad you guys had a great experience.
Yeah. I mean, we rave about it, especially knowing how hard it is to put together an entire kit. I mean, it was just seamless. So then, and what's really fascinating, I know we're wrapping up, but one point is what's really fascinating that I can't stress enough is the fact that we don't have to do any of the engineering. I wanted an overhang on all 4 sides, and your software made it happen. And then your factory sent me every single part to make it happen. It's just a really, really cool system that more people need to be looking into. So I think it takes out so many obstacles to the building world.
Awesome. I will tell you too, see a lot of people inquiring about buildings. They're saying that they heard about us from you. They heard about cold form buildings from April, and more than a few of them are indicating they may be trying to build them on their own. So,
oh, really?
We're keeping close tabs on every single one of them, and it's mine and Nathan's goal to get out and meet a few of these folks.
I love that. Please keep me posted. I love that.
Get them on video and let you see how they do. So we're certainly excited for it.
Awesome.
Well, folks, you've been listening to Cold Form Buildings Made Easy. Our guest today was April Wilkerson. My name is John Cosper, and my co-host is Lauren Toole. Thank you guys for joining us. Talk to you next time.